Sup Shredders, my name is Logan, aka Spiderhands, and welcome to SP Reviews, where today we're going to be checking out a track from an act named BURB titled RIP. And if we switch over to here, we have the track on SoundCloud. We go the art for it here. This is my first time with BURB, so this should be interesting. Produced by Necu or Necu. We're going to listen through this track from start to finish. We're going to hear what we think. We also have lyrics at the end to look through. There's quite a lot going on, especially for 2.5 minutes, but that's fine. Let's get into it. Let's do it. Great dynamic range there. I love how it comes in like this. Nice and slow.
Yeah, I'm tired of dimming my inner light, cause I'm on the grind through the day and night. I feel like the loneliest neophyte, but I'm better alone, so I'm feeling fine. I climb out the cuts like a parasite, burn my body in flames, human sacrifice. Ain't nobody gon' come to my candlelight, so I'm better off resting in paradise.
Ain't nobody come to my candlelight, so I'm better off resting in paradise. Damn, dude. That's terrible. I'm really sorry that they're going through this. I listen to a fair bit of music, especially in the rap and hip hop genre, which has stuff like that in it, which is very different to the stuff I grew up with. But it's an interesting movement going on, and it's good that people are exploring stuff, even if it's quite dark. The production value, especially with these old-timey kind of strings and jazz elements influenced with the more sort of contemporary kicks and that vocal style, is a great fusion.
Better off resting in paradise. RIP on my mind while I'm sipping wine. Through the shadows and cuts, it's a scary vibe, but I crawl through that bitch like a parasite. Bitch, I need space like a terabyte. Back the fuck on me, bitch, I ain't terrified. I got brothers and demons beside my side. What a wonderful road to a crazy life. Climb out the cage, bitch, I'm back right now when I shoot.
I really appreciate the fact we're taking the drums out for this part and just allowing that brass accompaniment, allowing there to be a bit of range in that motif and that accompaniment.
Watch me ascend through the sky in the clouds. Feel like a giant whale, lift off the ground. Fuck killing the crowd, bitch, I'm killing a doubt. My voice is a weapon, I figured it out. Stay on the low and stay on our toes, cause police and murderers been on patrol. Been in control of my future now, Rubido. I'm gonna make it all go, yo.
What I like about this is also the fact that we are changing those drum grooves occasionally just to keep things sounding fresh. I think we're aware that when we've got a similar sort of vocal style and way of delivering it, the accompaniment needs to shift. Even if it's a good story and even if the performance is competent, we need range and diversity within it in order to keep interest.
Me flowing through all of my bones, and I got a message, I'm cracking the code. My vision is vivid, the mind of a mystic. I'm doing this shit for myself and my woes. Whoa, yo, I'm doing this shit for myself and my woes. I'm chasing.
Great filtering here. Fantastic. Unexpected.
Yeah, give me a pen, I'll be signing my soul while I'm writing these lyrics. They so hypothetical. I'm born in December and forged in the cold. Yo, I've been out walking through heaven and hell.
Those overdubs as well, kind of giving you an insight into what's going to happen next. That foreshadowing is tremendous. Really, this is quite a strong track.
All of this shit by myself. I've been out wishing on multiple stars. I've been out wishing on multiple wells. All that I need is my fame and my health. My brothers, my music, my body, my wealth. I was down bad with the cards I was dealt, so I got off my ass and I made it myself.
Hey, good. Good. You know, I think initially we were talking about how much of a terrible space we're in, and as we go along, we're talking about what we're doing to change that, what we're doing to rectify that. I think that's a beautiful thing. There's development thematically.
I feel like the loneliest neophyte, but I'm better alone, so I'm feeling fine. I climb out the cuts like a parasite, burn my body in flames, human sacrifice. Ain't nobody gon' come to my candlelight, so I'm better off resting in paradise. I'm better off resting in paradise. RIP on my mind while I'm sipping wine.
Oh, excellent work with the meta-tune now.
Through that bitch like a parasite. Bitch, I need space like a terabyte. Back the fuck on me, bitch, I ain't terrified. I got brothers and demons beside my side. What a wonderful road to a crazy life.
Yeah, that's all we needed. Stunning. Genuinely, I'm very happy with this. Initially, I was like, is that kick affecting the sound of the mix and the mastering chain? Is it too much? But I don't necessarily think so. So this is the conclusion of my review of this track by BURB titled RIP, again produced by Necu or Necu. Oh, hang on a minute. I think, I was initially going to go through the lyrics, but I think I kind of understand what the track is about just by listening to it, and I think that's testament to BURB's ability as a vocalist, and the clarity of the production and just everything else alongside it. This is a very positive review, I think, at this point in time. I'm this early into the conclusion, but this track effectively is about someone who I think initially was really struggling struggling with what was going on in their life, maybe unable to cope with things, you know, and then they eventually realize that, hey, you know, I've just got to continue to keep working at it. I've got to like rise up out of this. I've got to find my own identity. I've got to find my own strength and polish and hone and eventually move out of the darkness, out of the abyss, and climb out and grasp your way towards without meaning this in a disingenuous or cheesy way, a brighter future, you know? I like the fact that we initially gain confidence throughout it and we sort of become more assertive with the way we describe ourselves, and other people like stomping crowds and stuff like that. I think that's really dope. And yeah, there was actual thematic development, as I mentioned earlier, which I appreciate because you're not just getting one angle throughout the story. It's actually someone telling you a tale. You know, it's interesting. It may seem like a given, but it's not. The actual vocal performance from BURBs itself was stunning. I really enjoyed listening to him spit on the mic. It was great. You know, it sounded like he was really sincere and authentic with it. The vocals are nice and present in the mix. It contrasted well tonally and how it was stacked in the frequency spectrum with the rest of the instruments. That's more of a production thing, I suppose, but also it's a conscious decision by him to keep that sort of more rhythmic, percussive way of rapping, as opposed to making it more colorful and potentially affecting the other elements in a maybe an unpredictable way. Maybe a predictable way. It depends on what you want, right? But effectively, he's a good rapper, got great technique, words came through clearly, sounded authentic. Lots of love for that, you know, a really strong first impression there. I trust that he'll continue to be a quality vocalist with his future releases, and having the ability to tell stories again really helps, especially with the wordplay, like the terabyte stuff and the candlelight stuff and everything like that. Again, dark stuff, but meaningful. The structure of the track here had that main motif that was played around with and messed around with. You didn't just have the drums and the bass all the time. Sometimes you had the brass and the old-timey vinyl like kind of burn to it, and it was unpredictable even if it was a similar chord progression and bass line. And I think that's so important. You really cannot afford to take for granted, right? You cannot afford to take for granted the fact that someone will be interested in your accompaniment. You cannot afford to take for granted that someone will only be satisfied with your vocal performance. You need to have everything connected and consistent with each other, and you need to have things sounding in a way that actually makes sense. And I think genuinely with BURBs, we smashed it out of the park. You know, we have someone who you know, again, I'm not sure how much Necu and Necu had to do with this. But either way, the absolute accompaniment, the choice of instruments there, it did kind of sound like someone talking out of a dive bar and gradually exiting that and getting more of a sort of a swagger and bravado and sense of self to it. And I think that's beautiful. The song evolved with the story. I mean, there wasn't a note out of place, and it sounded reasonably sophisticated. And again, just taking those instruments out and bringing them back in and having that range there dynamically, the perceived loudness, and just in regards to the tapestry of the actual track is fantastic. Finally, the production, recording, mixing, and mastering was absolutely stunning. You know, the actual performance from the recorded vocals, you know, not only was the performance detailed and exactly where it needed to be, but the actual quality of the recorded vocals was sensational. You know, it sounded nice and crisp. Recorded through a good quality microphone. The effects chain and plugs on that was fantastic as well. The other instruments like the bass, you know, the bass was well rounded and notched well, and it was supportive of the overall harmony there. You know, the drums were nicely sidechained and nice and punchy. They didn't overstay their welcome. Again, the strings and the other sort of fluffier elements going in there occasionally were great as well. Nicely filtered so that they weren't too present in the mix or didn't overwhelm the listener alongside everything else that was going on. We had things coming in and out and range there dynamically. As I mentioned before, the leveling of the instruments in the mix was relatively, it's basically exactly what it needed. It's ready for commercial release, you know. We're really at the level we need to be at. The panning instruments in the stereo mix was nice and wide. There were no weird resonances from any instruments there. The limiting compression on the master chain was nice and loud without pumping. And again, we had just that slow build from the start. We had that fade out at the end, as if the story had come and gone. And all in all, I'm so stoked with this. I'm so proud of BURBs for this, and I wish them the best of luck in future. But effectively, this is my review of BURBs song RIP. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, please do and show BURBs some love via his various social medias and his SoundCloud page. And stay cool and stay safe. And please remember to support your local musicians and artists at this point in time, as they need the help more than ever with all the crazy stuff going on in the world. And I will catch you in the next review. Spiderhands out.